Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. Now on this channel I do all things crafty, but today I'm going to work with sublimation. I have two projects I'm going to work on, and so let's look and see what supplies I'll need. First of all, this is a case for a tablet or an iPad, and I have the regular size iPad. I tried it to make sure it fit in here and it was perfect. So I'm going to sublimate on this white part. And then the second project that I'm going to do, and actually I'll probably start with this first. This is a neoprene laptop case. Now this isn't necessarily meant to be sublimated on. One of my favorite YouTubers is Craftable Things, and she goes to Five Below a lot, and she finds things that we can sublimate on for really inexpensively. So in a recent video, Craftable Things, or Miss Five Below as some of her fans like to call her, she found these laptop cases. And she did one, so she's the inspiration for this. This is not an original idea, but I took inspiration from her video and I'm going to make one for myself. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see all those scratches and all that, I'm pretty rough on my laptop. I bring it home every day. I work on it in the evening and then I haul it back to work in the morning. So I think this is going to do a great job of protecting it. Then I can put my iPad in this. There's plenty of room in this case. It's meant for up to a 15-inch laptop. My laptop's only 12 inches wide. Even with a 15-inch wide laptop, there's ample room in here for other things. So I can put my laptop in, my iPad in, zip it up, and I'll be really nice and protected. So I really wanted a matching set. So what I did was I took a picture of this. I'm going to go ahead and pull it into Inkscape, add my name to it, print it, and then sublimate it on this. Then on the larger case, all I'm going to do is put my name right across here. I think it'll show up well here because this is so light. The rest of this is so vibrant, I think your sublimation will get lost in it. Now here are the papers that I'm going to use today. For this project, I'm just putting my name right here. I'm going to print it out on this Hippo sublimation paper. Now I did receive that for free. I want full disclosure there, so we'll check it out, see how it works on this. And then for my iPad case, let me show you what a regular size piece of paper looks like on this. Okay, so here's the Hippo paper. A regular size piece of paper would work, but you're going to be ending right in the middle of this black edging. And when you do sublimation and your heat press is pressing down on that, you probably would see a little indentation there, which a lot of the times you can get out by repressing it once you take the paper off. But I'm going to take the easy way out. And I'm just going to go ahead and print my image for this on 8.5 by 14. That way it'll cover the whole width and I don't have to worry about those marks. Then I also have just some white butcher's paper for blowout paper. We'll talk about that when we're at the heat press. And some heat resistant tape. For this project, I'm going to use a regular heat press. And then for this project, now I know you can do it on a heat press because I saw Craftable Things do that. But I also have my Cricut Easy Press. And since I'm just doing this area right here, it'll easily fit in this corner. My heat press or my easy press will fit there. And then it'll be easy to get inside of this thicker part and just put my heat press right there or my easy press right there. Now let's go ahead and get to work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open Inkscape. That's a free design software. And usually mine opens with this large screen here. And you'll see in a little bit, I work with panels over here. So all I have to do to get those to show up is just nudge right here, and there they are. Now I'm going to be printing first on regular size paper. Right now it's set up for 12 by 12. So for it to print correctly, I need to go to File, Document Properties, and then I can either find the size of paper I need up here, or I can go down here and create a custom size. In this case, I want just regular 8.5 by 11, so I select that. Now I can go up to the red X and you see it's changed. Now to zoom in, you hold down the Shift button and hit the plus sign. And that blows it up so I can see it just a little bit better. So the first design I'm going to do is just my name. So I'll click right here on the text tool and then back over here on the paper. Then all I'm going to do is type my name, Marilyn. All right, let's go up here to the select tool, click on it. Now once I've clicked on it, I can drag this larger. Now I like to start by locking my proportions, and you do that by clicking right here. Now as long as I drag from a corner, those proportions will stay the same. So the height and the width will change proportionately. Even if it's locked, I can drag from the side and it changes. So to take advantage of this proportion lock, you have to use a corner arrow. Now I don't want that font. I either want Amelia, that's cute, or Homework. I think this one will be better for this project, so now I'm going to click Apply. And notice here you can see a sample. So once I see what I like, I'll click Apply and it'll change over here on my canvas. Because mine is down in the corner, I don't want mine any more than 5.5 inches wide. So that's what I'm going to start with. And then it can be taller than 1.8 inches, and I think it should be. I think that will look just a little bit better. But I also want my letters a little bit thicker. Here's what you need to do in order for that to work. We have to convert this to a path. So with it selected, I'm going to Path, Object to Path. Then you have to go to Object and Ungroup. At this time, if I want to change anything, I can. But even if I don't want to change anything, I always do that step next. So let's see. I think I will click off, then back on my M. And I think I'll make it taller. Now it looks like by doing that, yes, by doing that, this tail is a little bit too far to the left. So I'm going to click on the M, and then with my right arrow key, I'm going to press it one time. See how that looks? It still shows. I'll select it again, click that right arrow key, and I think that's good. I also think this L could be taller. And I don't know that I want this further down since it's in the corner and it's angled. That might cause a problem. So I will call that good. I'll select everything. And then the final step to be able to make it thicker is Path and Union. All right, now this is a path. It's just one image. I can take advantage of something called Offset or Outset. I'm going to go up to Path. And in this case, here's the difference. Outset just makes what you're working with larger. An offset causes a second layer that's larger, so kind of like a shadow. I don't want two layers, so I'm going to click on Outset. Notice here's my shortcut. On a Mac, that's the Command and the right parentheses button. So I'll click once doing it this way, and it got a little bit thicker. Now watch as I do this really quickly. I'm probably going to get it too thick, but I want you to see how it changes. And actually, that's not bad. Let's make it just a little bit thinner. Okay, I'll settle on that. I'm still within my 5.5 inches, so I think I'll just go with that. Now, on a sublimation printer, you need to print in reverse. So I'll go to Object and flip horizontal. And most people call that mirroring it. So I'm ready to go ahead and print my first one. Now, just to make sure I'm within the borders, I'm showing you right here. If this were off like this, then when I printed, anything outside the border of the paper would be cut off. Okay, while that's printing, I want to go ahead and flip this back over so that I can use it for my next design. So I'll go back to Object, flip horizontal, and then for now, I'm just going to move it out of the way. It's going to be really too large for my small case, so I'll have to change the size later. Since I'm printing this one on 8.5 by 14, I need to go back up to File, Document Properties, and then select that size. Now I can hit the red X, and my template size has changed. So I can just find the picture of my laptop case over on my desktop and just drag it in. So as I dragged it into my template, this screen came up. I always just click OK. Ooh, it came in really large. Okay, so let me click on it, go up here. I'm just going to get it to a manageable size right now, then I can resize it later. So I'm going to make it 12 inches wide. Oh, actually I made it 12 high and it's still 15 wide. Now I measured my case and I want it to be 10.75 wide. That's just a little bit larger than the white space on my sublimation area. And then I need it to be at least 7.5 tall, and it is. So I'm fine there. I may play with this image a little bit. First, I'm going to rotate it. And actually, you know what? Let me go back. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to change my document properties. So instead of 8.5 by 14, I'm going to come down here to the custom size, and I'm going to say I want a width of 14 and then a height of 8.5. Now it's really consistent with the way I want to design my project. Now here's what I'm worried about. You can see this is a picture of the case and I got kind of close up. I believe the tint of this is a little bit different than the actual case. I'm not the best photographer, nor am I the best photo editor. And instead of trying to match it exactly, I think what I'll do is go ahead and expand this. Let's make it a little bit larger. I just don't think trying to match exactly is the best option. So the way I can do that, I can take this square tool and I can drag a shape. I know you can't see through it yet, but give me just a minute. I need to hit this select tool. Now I can change the size. Once again, I know that I want to print the size 10.75. And I'm going to unlock this so I can change it to the actual height I'd like. And that's 7.5. Now, so that I can see my design, I need to drag this opacity down. So you need to be on the fill and stroke panel. So I'll drag this down. You could just type numbers. I just like to use the slider bar. And this is just to see where I would print. Now if I printed there, I could still put Marilyn really small down here. I could do that here too, but this is a lot of white space. So I think I'll pass on that. Let me drag this a little larger. And it's unlocked, so my proportions are off, but that's okay. Okay, I think I'm going to settle on that. So here's what I need to do. I'm going to drag around my image and the box that I made. I'll go up to Object, Clip, and Set. And that's just going to leave me with what's behind my little box. Okay, so here's what I'm going to print. Now let's find my name down there somewhere. I have to click on the screen and then hit Shift and the minus sign. Here it is. So I'll drag it up, then I'll make my screen large again. Okay, that's going to the back. So with it selected, I'll go to Object and I'll just raise it to the top. And we'll go ahead and rotate that. What happens is if you click on this once, you can resize it. If you click on it twice, you can grab this and rotate it. Now I need to remember that just a little bit of this will get cut off. So my name can't be quite all the way to the edge. So I'll make it a little smaller again. And I'd kind of like it really small down here. Oh, that's still a decent size. That's over 3 inches wide. Doesn't need to be really large. Okay, I like that. I'm going to call that good. So, make my screen smaller. Select both items by dragging all the way around them, and then I'll go to Object, Group, and then I need to flip it. So Object, Flip Horizontal. Now let's just make sure my sizes are correct. They're exactly what I want them. So now I'm going to go ahead and print this. Now I want to show you why I printed this a second time. The first time I printed it using just black, I printed it on this hippo paper, and I noticed there was red bleeding out of it. So if I would have used my larger printer that actually has hippo ink, maybe it would have fixed this. I am going to investigate and see if that would have worked better, but let me show you how it bled. Hopefully you can see that in the camera that there's just some bleeding of that ink. It's not crisp and there's some redness to it. There's redness in the bleeding. So I reprinted it on printer's jack. There's no bleeding. It's not quite as dark, honestly, but there's no bleeding. And until we see how it presses, I don't want to judge it for being too light, because it is going to darken up when we add high heat to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and rip around this because you can have little bits of ink on your paper that you don't even notice until you press it on and then you see it. Sublimation does darken up as you add heat to it. And so I've had multiple times where just little bits of ink show up on my project later. Then by tearing around it instead of cutting around it, you tear away. Okay, my easy press is ready, so it beeped. Okay, so what I was saying, by ripping around it, you tear away some of the layers of the paper, and so it gets narrower at those edges, and your press lines aren't as bad. The lines of your paper make little indentations in your project sometimes, and this is just a way to either avoid or at least minimize the effect of that. Now this is thick, so I'm not concerned about my table getting damaged. This is thick enough that it's going to be fine. Also, this is thick enough that I'm not worried about putting blowout paper between the layers. The ink's not going to go all the way through. And it's just neoprene inside. There's no plastic or anything like that, so I'm also not worried about it sticking together. All right, that looks pretty good. So let me go ahead and put just a little bit of heat tape down to hold it in place so it doesn't shift while I'm pressing on it. Okay, so this is the printer's jack. They have one that has a pink case and a pink back, one that has a blue case and a blue back. The main difference is that the blue back is like an 8.3 by 11 point something. So it's not a standard size in the United States. Then on the back, I would say this material is like a mouse pad. It's the neoprene. So they suggest 374 for 30 seconds with heavy pressure. I'm not going to be able to get really heavy pressure since I'm just hand pressing this. So I'm going to increase those a little bit. In fact, let's see what I set my easy press to. Okay, I have it over here at 385 for 45 seconds. Now it's up to temperature, so we can go ahead and do this press. I'm going to put a piece of butcher paper down to protect my heat press or my mini press from getting any blowout through the sublimation paper onto it. Then to protect this outside here, I'm also adding a Teflon sheet. So I need to make sure I get really close to this thick edge. Alrighty, so wish me luck. All right, I'm gonna peek under there. I can see that paper coming up. I think it looks good, but you're gonna have to wait till the end of the video. So I'll set that aside. All right, here is my mouse pad. So just a pre-press. I'm gonna run over to my heat press, press this for 15 seconds at a pretty good pressure. Now, just like my last print, I did already put this one under the heat press with my platen up. And then this is one of the pads that came with my inexpensive heat press. I brought it over here so that when I get my project exactly the way I want it, I can just carry it all like this. And these speckles, that just came in the pad. That's not a stain, it's not blood, it's just the texture and the color of the pad. All right, so I pre-press this. Now here's my concern. Down here where this seam is, it's a little, I don't know, it's just not quite even. So my pressure might be a little weird there. So here's what I want to do. What do I want to do? Do I want the dark part there? Or do I want the light part there? I feel like that the light part should go there because I think differences in the pressure would be less noticeable on the light part. That's going to be my theory. Now I wish I would have printed this just a little bit larger so that I could really see that there's image covering the whole white part of this pad. But I'm going to deal with it. It'll be fine. Okay, I think I have the whole thing covered. I sure hope I do. I am going to add a decent amount of heat tape because I've got to turn this thing over and I don't want it to shift at all. All right, let's go see if it works. Now the blowout paper again, that just protects, if ink comes through the back side of this paper, it's protecting the bottom side of my platen. Because if you get ink on that platen, you're just going to transfer it to your next projects. All right, I'm going to heat this at 385 for 50 seconds. Now, just like the other one, I'm going to let that cool off, and then let's go over to the table and see what they look like. Okay, I'm going to start with this one because I'm just a little bit less nervous about it. Oh, pretty! That is just wonderful. And it is nice and dark. And I don't even see a single indentation around where my paper was. So that is a huge success. Okay, guys, I want to peek. That looks good. That looks good. Ooh. Oh, it looks good as far as not having white. It is beautiful in that regard. Okay, let's see the colors. Now that is popping. That's pretty. Does it match the other one exactly? No, it doesn't. It does not. Remember, we got rid of a lot of that white space. And then this has a more yellow tone. Now, it's not the fault of the paper. It's not the fault of the item. It's not the fault of the heat press. It's all my fault because I didn't edit it perfectly to match. But let's see how they look together. And I don't even want to show you because they don't match. But it's okay. It's okay. I should have used more color correction and use that little eyedropper tool where you can click on something that's supposed to be white and it turns it white. But I'm okay with it. That's really pretty. Will I use it and be happy with it? Absolutely. So here is a good lesson for me. What I probably should have done is printed my image, maybe smaller so I don't waste as much ink, press it on just a scrap piece of polyester, see how it matches, and then go back in and adjust the picture. So that's what I'll do next time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go check out Craftable Things and all her 5 Below items. Appreciate you sticking with me all the way till the end. And until my next video, bye-bye.